Hello, and welcome to One Magical Witchy World TV. I am Starr Ravenhawk.
And I'm Rhonda Allen, and we are so happy to have you all with us again this week.
Yes.
And tonight,
We're proud to welcome Fred DarkMoon to the Magical Witchy World TV.
here we go.
It's a magical witchy world.
All right, Fred
Woohoo!
DarkMoon.
Hey,
Happy to
Welcome,
have you here
Fred
tonight.
hello,
DarkMoon.
hello.
Welcome. And Fred DarkMoon of Dark Moon Spirit, we are so excited to have you with us this week. Before we get into our interview with you, I'd like to go ahead and go through your bio. Okay, so first, let's go through your bio. Fred Schaff, Fred DarkMoon of Dark Moon Spirit, who performs as the musician. Fred DarkMoon of Dark Moon Spirit is a singer, songwriter, multi-talented musician who sings, plays lead and rhythm guitar, bass guitar, keyboards, and drums. He's also a producer and production engineer with both a bachelor's and master's degree in engineering. He's a member of MENSA, the International High IQ Society. As part of his varied engineering background, he's created educational software that has helped thousands of students be able to graduate high school. A lover of science and nature, Fred channels his instinctual feelings and emotions into his musical creativity. Fred does not subscribe to any form of organized religion or belief system. He describes his spirituality as my church is in the woods and nature.
All right,
Awesome.
that's so awesome. So we've had the pleasure of having Fred DarkMoon at Witches Fest USA. Him and his Dark Moon Spirit Band for many years, a few years now, and so it's a great pleasure having you here tonight. And we've been looking forward to this conversation with you.
And,
Okay.
and
So,
I've been very much looking forward to being here too.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So, over the years, many of us has referred to ourselves as many different names. As a matter of fact, sometimes it changes as the time goes by. So, we would like to know or hear from you. How do you refer to yourself? What do you consider yourself? And has that changed over the years?
I'm Fred, and I go by Fred Darkmoon when I perform in Dark Moon Spirit because it's part of the vibe and energy I feel with the band and with the music. And it allows me to express myself in a different way. But, Fred is just how I refer to myself.
Awesome. So let me just kind of leaning into that theme. How do you call yourself and how do you refer to yourself? What brought you to the world of the witch?
What brought me to the world of the witch was exposure to witchcraft and mysticism from people I know, especially Melina, who created the band logo for Dark Moon Spirit. And I became kind of entrenched in the whole thing. And the logo that she created for the band, which is up here behind me, she tells me is a sigil, which I have learned means that it has magical power. And it really kind of did, because Dark Moon Spirit, when I got serious about doing a music project and I was looking for a name for that project, I had this long list of names, and I was asking everybody I know, well, what do you think of this name, and what do you think of that name? And Melina, who's an artist, drew this, and I saw that, and when I saw it, I was like, Dark Moon Spirit, and then that was it. And the rest of it was history.
Done.
Nice.
Fabulous.
That's awesome. Okay, so what, from your point of view, do you consider a witch or being a witch, or if you refer to yourself that way at all?
Okay, well, I consider a witch someone who is interested in nature And our nature as human beings, our place in the ecosystem of this planet, how we interact with it, with other creatures of the planet, animals, plants, and how we interact with each other. Witches and scientists, maybe not all that different. A scientist is someone who wants to get answers about nature. And I think a witch is that too. Scientists use something called a scientific method when they're looking for answers. And the scientific method is they see something, they observe, and they want to know what this is about. And then they see what other people have said about this. They do research. And they come up with hypothesis why it is the way it is. Then they do experiments. And after they do their experiments, they look at the data they get and then they share that with others. Now, in the witch world, I know that things that witches do have been handed down from generation to generation. And it's more of an intuitive approach than a hardcore science approach. It's more about feelings, perceptions, and things that may not totally be explained yet from a scientific point of view.
That's kind of true. That is absolutely true.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, I think of it sometimes as science trying to catch up with the witch, because we've been proving a lot of things for so long, and we see them now trying to catch up with certain things, or some of it they've caught up with us, kind of a thing, as they've proved certain things, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Try to explain them. So, from your point of view, continuing somewhat in that theme again, what is magic and what does it mean to be magical? And how is it then a part of your lifestyle?
Magic is all around us all the time. There's magic in everything. There's magic in science. There's magic in science that hasn't been explained. Some of the greatest things are crazy. Think about geese and how they fly north and south and they know where they're going. How do they do it? Well, the way they do it is they can perceive the Earth's magnetic field in their minds, in their head, in their brain. And that's how they know which way to fly. That's kind of crazy. We can't do that as human beings.
Right.
And science can get really crazy when you think about how certain things work. Like, did you know on the surface of the Earth that time moves a little bit slower than it does for satellites in orbit? And that all comes from something called relativity. And how GPS works, the GPS that works off of satellites, has to take that into account when calculations are made. GPS can pinpoint your location to like about 16 feet. But if those time inaccuracies, which are somewhere on the order of 40 microseconds, which is 40 millionths of a second, aren't taken into account, the inaccuracies will continually build because time is going slower down here than it is up there. Everybody kind of thinks time is a constant. It's not really. And, Einstein was the guy who came out with relativity, general relativity, special relativity. And, people thought he was a little bit nuts when he first came out with all this stuff. But this is all proven now. This is proven facts. Now we have something that's called spooky interaction on the quantum level. It's called quantum entanglement. That a particle, if you observe it, another particle that's entangled with it, you can instantly know what's happening with that other particle. Kind of really crazy. Nobody knows why, but they do know it works. So,
Which is fabulous.
this is the magic of science.
Okay, there you go.
When you think about witches and witchcraft, they're tuning into the magic of instinct, the mind, how we feel about things. At least that's the way I see it.
No, you're right. I
That
see it
makes
like that
sense.
too. Absolutely.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So I'm going to ask you something that you said in your bio. Like, what do you mean by church is in the woods and nature? What does that mean to you?
I was brought up in a structured religion, which I will not name.
Okay.
Not to alienate anybody in their beliefs, because I mean, how everybody perceives their spirituality is up to them. There is no right or wrong. There's only how you feel. And by the time I was in an early teenager, 13, I said, no, this is a lot of, I won't use the word, but I was not there with it. And the feeling that you get when you go out in the woods and you're in tune with nature, and by go out in the woods, I don't mean go to the park, and I don't mean go out somewhere where you're with a group of people. I mean when you go out into the woods, like about an hour into the woods that you've been hiking, and you're all alone. And there's nothing around you that has anything to do with the noise, the road, other people. It's just you in the woods.
Right.
It's an incredible, incredible experience. And I've done this many times. And when I have those experiences, I make it a point to not leave those woods by the same path I go in. And there's a bit of risk in that. But doing that gives you this feeling of, hey, I'm part of this and I'm one with this. And it's nature overload, but not necessarily the way most people describe nature. It's the nature of how we are part of the planet, how we came from this planet, and how we're entangled with everything else on the planet, and that we should respect the planet.
Beautiful.
That little
Beautiful.
guitar. I have a guitar right now.
Yeah. Well, that's fabulous. A little tease. So, now that we did that, I want to understand, why did you choose to name your musical project? Well, you did go into this a bit. Dark Moon Spirit. Is there something about the dark moon for you that draws you in?
Oh, yes, there totally is.
Tell us.
We live very structured lives. We're kind of forced to live structured lives because, if you want to survive in the world, you have to do what you need to do. And doing what you need to do sometimes means getting up and going to work and then coming back home from work and having to interact in different ways with different people. That's all kind of pre-programmed for you, that this is the way you're supposed to be. The dark moon, as part of the lunar cycle, is a time for when you say, I've had enough of this, I need to change.
Right.
Mhm.
And we all feel that at times in various ways. We all feel that we cannot deal with some of the things that we're dealing with, and we need to make a change.
Right.
And through music, and for Dark Moon Spirit is about, feeling the things that you feel as a human being and coming out with the, hey, I got to live my life. I have to be free. I have to express myself. I may need to let some things go, and I may need to make a change in order for me to be happy and be me.
That's awesome.
So Selena Fox in episode 2 of Magical Witchy World, she had the Dark Moon chant, I think it was. That she
Yeah.
She
She
did.
wanted to do that, and that was awesome. And she chanted that for us.
Fabulous.
Awesome.
Yep.
Fabulous.
All right. So, where did you study music?
Okay, well, I studied engineering in college, and I got a degree, and so it says I'm an engineer, and I got a master's degree. But I never studied music at all.
Oh, wow.
I never had a single music lesson in my entire life.
Wow.
Amazing.
So, all of it's just natural.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
There's 2 ways to learn things. One way is you go to school, and somebody gives you a piece of paper and says, this is what you are.
Mhm.
Another way is, and for me, before there was the internet, there was going to the library. Now it's a lot easier. You can do it online, but you can learn things that you want to learn on your own by just doing the research and finding that information. And then you can apply yourself to that information, and you can be what you want to be.
Mhm.
I never took any kind of music lessons. Dave, the drummer in Dark Moon Spirit, Dave English, he's a phenomenal musician, but he's the kind of guy who is a lifelong musician. He's done this since he was a kid. He
Wow.
teaches at the School of Rock. He gives private lessons. He earns his
Wow.
living by being a musician, and he's in other bands other than Darkmoon Spirit. That's pretty impressive. And so you'll see Dave at Witches Fest with me this year.
Yes.
But for me, I had a totally different route for that. I taught myself everything I know.
Wow. Beautiful.
That is awesome. Well, can we dive into hearing a little something, switching things up? Can we actually ask you to perform a bit of your latest song,
Yeah. The one that we
Magical
got to
Witchy
let you know, though,
World?
we have to let people know. Fred wrote and created this song for our show, Magical Witchy World TV. He did an amazing job with it. Beautiful lyrics, So thank you, Fred, so much. It's going to be our theme for our show going forward.
Going forward. Cannot thank you enough for
Yeah.
this. And I'm just going to switch over a little bit so we can see you a little more.
Yeah. Look at him.
Thank you, Fred DarkMoon.
I was inspired by what you were doing with the show, and that's where that song came from.
Awesome.
And here is just a little taste of it. It's the feeling you get in the middle of the night. That's when our spirits start to take flight. There are forces in nature we can't explain. Come from beyond the perceptible plane. It comes from deep within your soul. Don't be afraid to let go. It's a magical witchy world. It's a magical witchy world.
Yay.
It was my pleasure to be on your show. I am honored that you had me here. Thank you so very much.
Thank you
That is
so
so
much.
amazing. Thank
It
you.
is fabulous. Thank you so much. We will again share your information. People can find it in the chat. You've had several people in the chat cheering you on for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And we can't wait to see you July 8th at Witches Fest USA.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
Thank
be
you
looking
so
forward to
much.
being
A
with the
pleasure.
band.
And now a word from our sponsor.
All right. All right. It's astrology
That was
time.
fabulous.
Yay.
Yes, it is.
And that was such a pleasure having Fred DarkMoon with us. But we continue with
I
astrology.
loved
I
that.
know, yeah. He created our theme song. Yay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
So Pluto has entered Aquarius yesterday, March 23rd. And it's going to be here with us till January, I think, 2043. So we're getting a sneak peek at the moment with this transit because it's been a while since it came back with Pluto entering Aquarius. Before that, it was in the Capricorn. And while it will be making a brief appearance this year, it's important to take note of the changes that happen in our lives for the next few months, because those will be setting the tone for the next 20 years. Now, Pluto is the planet associated with wealth, power, secrets, mystery, death, and the underworld journeys, right? So Pluto will carry those themes into the realm of information, technology, data, science, systems of power, and communal potency. Pluto has been in Capricorn, like I said, since 2008. And the amount of time Pluto spends in each sign makes any shift very significant. So now that Pluto will be in Aquarius, we will be feeling more of the collective coming together to create real, tangible change for the greater good.
Excellent. Right. And this allows us to be free and innovative in our thinking and connects us to the collective. So imagine having a bunch of radio stations on at the same time in your mind. This is the life of an Aquarian, feeling the world in all ways and picking up on the collective mood. So this connection allows Aquarian energy to find creative solutions to our global problems. There is no limit to where the mind can go with Aquarian energy, and its idealism is infectious. We will be seeing more progressive change in the world regarding human rights, and that's a big deal. We
Yeah.
absolutely need that. We'll also be seeing a lot of changes in the tech world. Pluto in Aquarius is about revolution and big change in our society. Pluto in Capricorn was more self serving and focused on patriarchy. So we're definitely seeing that shift. Aquarian energy is more about the betterment of society and not just the self. Pluto in Capricorn was about restructuring and exposing how we have been doing things, and it was not working for the greater good. Pluto in Aquarius, though, will allow us to embrace systemic change by being more mindful and empathetic. Embracing community will be a big theme, as will knowing that we cannot create change unless we step into it together.
All right. And so we
Mhm.
kind of, want to take you back into um, a little bit of history on what Pluto was like in Aquarius when it was
Mhm.
there before. Being that transformer, whatever house Pluto tunnels into for you will be the source of awe-inspiring resources over the coming years. So Saturn in Aquarius clarify the challenges that now face the collective. Pluto reveals that what needs to be revamped on a personal and social level. Pluto will only linger in Aquarius for about 3 months in 2023, but it will spend 2 decades in this sign when it returns in 2024. Think of this initial sprint as that foreshadowing of that seismic shift or a sneak preview of what's to come. The last time that Pluto was in Capricorn at 27 degrees that took place, during that was the signing of the Declaration of Independence, which was in 1776, and Pluto's return, which was when it returned to the exact same degree, was the rebirth of America as they see it.
Mhm.
This was happening in America's second house, which is our house of values, inside and out. And Pluto, in this system's minded air sign that it is, will transform our understanding of the power of the collective. We are going to have a voice, and we are
Mhm.
going to speak it loud and clear and let what we want happen to take place. We'll witness the value and cost of information and maybe even attempt democratizing it in a whole new way.
Mhm.
And Pluto was in Capricorn, it brought out the truth about our ruling structures and activates transformation. And we've witnessed a lot of it
Mhm.
the past few years, right? Admit to that. The earth element of Capricorn in an earth element ruled house of Taurus represents financial structures. And again, we saw a lot of the what you call it, the CEOs with the big corporate companies,
Mhm.
financial structures coming out and showing what's there and
Mhm.
feeling a lot of things to people. So whereas Pluto represents transformation and power, this is why we are seeing big action and revelations in the stock markets, crypto, and in big business, good
Yeah,
and bad.
and lots happening there.
Yes, yes,
Watch
yes.
that market. Things have been shifting.
Yeah.
So now tomorrow, March 25th, we have Mars entering Cancer. Our battles turn to the home front, and we'll do anything to protect our space and keep our loved ones safe. On March 27th, then, we'll have Mercury in Aries, conjunct Jupiter in Aries, which encourages all of us to take a leap of faith, as we will be lucky in every area of our lives. Look at life through optimistic eyes and fearlessly take the road less traveled. Come March 30th, next week, Mars will be in Cancer trine Saturn in Pisces, and this is a collaborative aspect that allows us all to work together to achieve a common goal. It will demand we take a stand and help each other out. So, big things coming in the next couple of weeks, and then, of course, that large one that's going to be with us for a couple of decades, and that's a lot. So, before we go on, let's go on to our next section. Let's show a little clip.
All right. So we are going to be doing a Pluto in Aquarius pull of a card to see what's going to be coming up during that time.
Excellent.
What big shifts are going to be coming up for us?
Perfect.
All righty. Oh, wow.
And
Ooh, okay.
oof.
Goodness. This is like four cents and everything coming up.
So our Pluto in Aquarius, and I'm working with the Wiser Tarot deck tonight. This is Wiser Tarot, so it's based on the Rider-Waite Smith. And I have the King of Swords. The King of Swords. And what were we speaking about Aquarius is that it's, all up in the head and all the thoughts and all the ideas and all the things. And here we have this king, the king of that mental acuity, being sovereign and being seated in that place of managing our ideas and bringing them to the fore where we can actually act on them in the world. This is what we need to be doing. Be sovereign, be masterful, understand how to move in the world, putting our thoughts and our ideas together. What did you get, Starr?
Oh my goodness, girl. Okay. This is the Four of Pentacles. I don't know if you guys can see it
Ooh,
properly, but look at
beautiful.
this card. Look at this card. And I'll tell you something. I have had this deck for a long time and I've never pulled this card before until now.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. I had it a long time. And if you look closely at this card, look at that. Do you see the cross? And the way he's sitting there with his feet planted on top of people's finances and everything, the control of money, and it, to me, that whole what they call the trickle down effect that never occurred.
Yes.
It does not work trickling down. It just holds on to whoever is up there, and they hold on to it real tight.
Yes.
And try not to pass it down, but they're saying, yeah, it's coming at some point, which no one ever sees. There's also an interesting thing, a big shift. Religion or spirituality will play a huge deal. Whatever major religions are going to be fighting for more control, more tight-fisted, and more. I just see a lot of control where it's concerned. So there's going to be like this unconscious and physical reaction to people's religion and spirituality, and fighting to maintain theirs without a power struggle of any type.
Right.
Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, why is it so political? Why is this card feels so political in so many ways?
Yeah.
And so frontal, and it's patriarchal at the same time, but it's saying there's a lot of changes that needs to come, because the tight-fistedness and the trickle-down effect and all of it is going to create an uprising against the ruling spirituality or churches or whatever it is. There's going to be people wanting to hold on to what's theirs without it being taken away from them. They're not saying they want to take away others. They just don't want to be theirs taken away, and they don't want anyone trying to control theirs.
Absolutely.
But this is, to me, a very politically stated card, the way that it is in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of changes that's going to seismically shift in the now, from now going forward for a few years, and it's going to take us into where our future lies with democracy and everything else. It's so interesting
I
because yeah,
and I just want to state, you all have to know, we do not pre-select these cards. We are pulling these cards
yeah,
as we shuffle in in real
yeah.
time,
I
real
have
time.
never ever pulled this
No.
card
And
before, ever.
and I reiterating, here we have two cards that speak to what we've been speaking about. I just want to state, Pluto entered Aquarius yesterday. What were we saying? Pluto is the planet associated with wealth, power, secrets, mystery, death, and underworld journey. So we see the wealth and power in your card. Pluto will carry these themes into the realm of information technology, data, science, systems of power, and communal potency. This is technology. This is information
Everything.
technology, data, all of that. It's factual. That's this energy. And we
Mm-hmm.
have both of these playing out in these two cards tonight.
Yep.
So yeah, you know, for me, I love working with.
Truth to power. Truth to power is what I'm
I
saying.
tell you, there's no joke. There's no joke here. That's fabulous. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
So yeah, lots going on. But before we go off and move on to our next piece, which
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
really just introducing everybody to what's to come, we want to share with you who our next week's guest is. Hold 1 second. Actually, before we do that, let me
Yeah.
share with you our Witches Fest again.
All right.
So, before we jump into next week's panel, I want to remind everyone on April 21st, we'll be
Yes.
back with our panel discussion. So, Magical Witchy World's panel will be back April 21st. It will be Racism Within Our Community, and it's the feedback edition. So,
Right.
we'll have our guests back, our guest speakers, those who can return with us, and we'll be back with feedback from our original panels.
Yes, absolutely. And then on Friday, this Friday, March 31st, we will be having Christopher Penzak as our next guest.
Yes, so exciting. Here we go.
All right. And we wanted to let you guys know. I don't know if Trusty Aldo has put it up as yet, but he's telling you to look forward to the Pagan Ninja playlist and our Pagan music playlist that will be coming to the channel, or might already be up, some of it. But check it out. There's a lot of great things there for you guys. And again, we wanted to thank Fred DarkMoon for being here with us from
Of Dark Moon
Dark
Spirit.
Moon Spirit.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
We really appreciate you being here tonight, Fred.
Thank
You so much for joining us. Everybody out there, thank you for joining us
Right,
again this
yeah.
week. We truly appreciate your support. Don't forget to like and share our channel. It really does mean a lot to us.
And
The
subscribe
more people we can
as well.
subscribe. Thank you all so much. Have a great
Right.
week. Great to be back,
Yes,
Starr.
yes, yes, yes. I
And
missed you
we'll see you
last
next
week.
week. Thank you. Same here. I miss being here. We'll see you all soon. Have a great
Yeah,
night.
take
A
care.
great week.
Okay.